let's factor a trinomial by grouping. Now, before we get into this, generally, when we go by grouping, we have more than 3 terms. If you only have 3 terms, there are other ways to factor and you don't need to do grouping. However, some people really like grouping, so I want to show you how you can do this with a trinomial. The key is you need to break up the linear term such that the 2 pieces you break it up into share a factor with one of the other 2. And now you're thinking, what? Okay, so remember, if we FOIL something, let's just say I have x minus 3 and x plus 2. When I FOIL that, or double distribute, x times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x, negative 3 times x is negative 3x, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. It automatically gives us 4, and then we combine the middle 2 pieces. So basically what we need to do if we want to factor by grouping with a trinomial, we need to break that 13x into 2 middle terms. So when I'm looking and I think, okay, I need something that'll factor with 5, probably going to need something with a 5. Okay, well, let's use, maybe we go 15x, and if this is a positive 15x, I would need a negative 2x, because negative 2 plus 15 is the same as 13. Okay, so if we want to try this out, and I put it in those order on purpose because, remember, with grouping, we take the common factor of the 2 pieces. So with 6x squared and 2x, my common factor would be 2x. And when I factor that out, I'm left with 3x minus 1. And then I come over to the other side and we say, okay, 15x and negative 5, I have a factor of 5. If I factor out the 5, I'm left with 3x minus 1. When you do this, if you notice that the binomial, in this case inside, it matches, you've successfully done this. Because we can say, okay, 3x minus 1 from each side. What do I have left? I have 2x plus 5. And we have successfully factored that by grouping. Let's do one more. 10x squared minus 31x plus 15. And we want to factor by grouping. Now, it's possible that you don't always guess right the first time. So maybe I would say, well, let's try, I'm going to go with 35x. We'll do a negative 35x and then a plus 4x. So that equals. And I put them in that order because 10 and 4 have a common factor and 35 and 15. So we're going to try that. Now, when I take out my common factor, I get, well, 10 and 4 share a 2, so 2x, and I'm left with 5x plus 2. And then I need a positive inside, so I'm going to say minus 5, and that gives me 7x plus 3. Notice, these do not match, so that is not correct. So I would take, again, 10x squared minus 31x plus 15. So this is why factoring by grouping with trinomials is not necessarily the best method, because it might take you a lot of guessing to get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, what if we have negative 25x and negative 6x? Because together those give us my negative 31x. So let's try that. Okay, so now 10x squared minus 6x, common factor, 2x. So I end up with 5x minus 3. Okay, I have negative 25x and 15. One thing to note, inside I want a negative. Right now, this is a positive, so I'm going to want to factor out a negative 5. Because when I factor out a negative 5, negative 25 here divided by negative 5 gives me a positive 5x, and then a positive 15 divided by a negative 5 gives me a negative 3. Now you can clearly see 5x minus 3, 5x minus 3, those match. And what do I have left? 2x minus 5. And there is the factoring by grouping when we start with a trinomial.